Oh, wait. Yes.
Happy New Year and welcome to Crazy Sexy Menopause. As you can see, I have a special guest today. This is Angelo, and he's my husband, if you haven't known that yet. And he is joining me today because we're going to talk about love, marriage, and business in menopause.
In menopause.
In menopause. So, Angelo, I have my notes here because, we can go on about talking period. And we have some lively conversations. And so I have my notes here to keep me on track. And I would just like to start by saying, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Considering I never thought that I would find myself on this side of the camera. As you know, and maybe some others know, I'm usually behind the scenes, moderating or doing something else.
And putting up notes behind.
Putting up notes behind the camera like, 30 seconds left, or whatever it is. Anyway, it's good to be here. Thank you, my love, for inviting me.
Yes.
I only hope that I'm able to provide some value.
Well, I think you are, because there are many women that come up to me specifically, and they say, how do you do it? What happened? My goodness, he is just so wonderful. Tell us your story. So, Angelo, let's start from the beginning. Okay. What happened and what was going through your mind when you thought, when we met, and we had been talking maybe, and then after our first date, and you thought, wow, there's something here. I want to be with this woman.
Well, just to sort of set the tone, you and I are almost exactly the same age. I think I actually counted it out one time. I'm 89 days older than Bette. And
he did count the days.
I'm that kind of nerd, But I know that because we are the same age, and this was evident right from the beginning.
Yeah.
We had this shared history where we didn't have to teach each other about life or about, common memories or ancient cartoon shows that we enjoyed as a kid.
Right.
Anything like that. So we had this easy kind of communication and connection right from the start. I don't think there was ever a moment where I felt stressed or nervous or
bored.
Or no, certainly not bored about being with Bette. And I can't say it was a singular moment that made me say, oh, you know what? This is the one. It was more like a continuum, like maybe the cylinders in a lock that just sort of slide into place, and then you look at the lock and go, well, everything's here. Why don't we become a unit? And I think for me, it was more like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
I like that. You never said that before, babe.
Well, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Well, from your perspective, I won't go into in depth about how we met or anything like that. And if you're interested in that, because Angelo thinks no one is interested in our story, but if you are interested, let me know in the comments, and we'll do another video, or at least I'll do another video with pictures and video. If that's of interest. But from your perspective, what are some things that men get wrong about women in menopause, and what are some things that they get right, or how they can get it right?
Sure.
Dealing with a woman in menopause.
Yeah, well, obviously I can't speak for all men.
Right.
I can tell you that before you came into my life, you were the first menopausal woman who came into my life. And
that you know of.
That I know of. You know what? Thank you for that clarification. I think back then, I knew as much about menopause as the average man, in that all I knew was exposed to me in popular culture, that women reached this point in life where suddenly they just went crazy, and that it was inexplicable and not understandable to the male mind what was going on. You just needed to dodge the frying pan or put up with the mood or whatever it was going to be. In other words, well, that's what I mean.
I know.
The culture treats menopause like a punchline. And I think men, when they encounter it, at least this man, was kind of expecting, there's this thing and it's completely unpredictable and I just need to kind of like stay hands off. Thankfully, I became a bit more better educated about what menopause is. So I think the other part of the question was, what would I...
in terms of, what do you think that men get wrong about dealing with a menopausal woman, and what are some ways that they can, put some thought into it and be more empathetic and compassionate?
I think that your brilliant name for this channel, Crazy Sexy Menopause, says it all. A lot of what men get wrong is they think that menopause is about women going, at least temporarily, crazy. And it's not about insanity. It's obviously, as you know, it's a biological shift. And what men can do is relax out of the stereotype and just be more present to what's going on. Realize that menopause isn't a punchline, it's a thing. And as much as men may not be conscious of it or like to think about it, in a mature relationship, such as we have, menopause is kind of like a silent partner. It's there, and maybe sometimes not so silent, I might say. But it's there. It has to be dealt with. It has to be cared about, if not cared for. That's what I would want men to know.
I love that. Yeah, it is in the shadows. To be aware of it, because we as women, we never know exactly when we never know when we're going to have a hot flash or a night sweat or a mood swing or, itchy skin or anything, and so because there are so many symptoms of menopause.
Which I didn't know, by the way.
Right.
I'd only isolated down to 2 or 3.
Right. And so you just never know when one is going to crop up, or all of them. At one point in time, and just have in the back of your mind, that this could be what it is, and maybe be a little bit more compassionate with your significant other, and hold their hand, and how can I support you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes, I don't know, in my experience, the best thing that I've been able to do is just listen. I'm never going to fully understand, and certainly not experience, female menopause. And so my empathy can only take me so far. My logical mind can only take me so far. And just what you did just now, just holding your hand does something for me internally. And my prayer is that it also does something for you. And often, Bette and I just sit and we hold hands, whether we're watching television or just sitting in a dimly lit room and being quiet.
Yeah, or at the movies.
Remember,
you told me at the beginning of our relationship, we were in the movies, and I guess I instinctively held your hand, and
that was the best part of the movie.
I don't even remember what
it was. Our first date.
Our first date was the
the supper club.
Yeah, the supper club.
Okay.
Yeah,
our second date,
and we almost missed the show.
That's all right. Another story for another time.
Yes. What mindset does a man have to walk with a woman through menopause without making her feel like she has to be something to be fixed? Because men, feel like they have to fix whatever issue or the problem is.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail right on the head for a lot of men. And I have to just admit, even for me, my go-to comfort place is to fix things, to dive to solution. And this is not a fixable thing. The menopause experience, I've learned, just isn't something that a man can fix. And so the mindset is simply to be supportive in whatever way seems to make sense in the moment. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the best thing that I've been able to do, I mean, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, is to just listen.
Yeah.
And sometimes when words are not forthcoming, maybe tears are forthcoming, or just nothing, being present and stopping what I'm doing and just being present seems to have an effect that is more not curative, but ameliorative, if that's a word, than not.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it does help to, to have you to bounce ideas off of. And usually when we have an issue or I'm talking to you about something, I'll say, well, I just want to get this out. I just want to talk about this, and so it just, and that's his cue to know that.
That's the signal for me to listen.
Yeah, you don't have to fix it. You don't have to fix it. I just need to get it out. I just need to talk about it.
So resist the impulse to put on Superman cape and fix.
Right.
A damsel doesn't need to be saved.
That's right. We're not in distress.
Right.
We're not in distress. So talk directly to women and
okay.
who think I'm too old, I'm too tired, I'm too changed, I'm set in my ways, and but I still want companionship. What does she need to hear from a man?
Wow. I'm not sure and I'm imagining you're talking about women who are wondering in terms of romantic relationships.
Yeah.
That they're too old to do. Mm-hmm. Well, what they need to hear from a man is probably secondary or maybe even tertiary to what you need to hear from yourself. Mm-hmm. What are the affirmative ways that you can describe your experience instead of saying, I'm too old, or I'm past my prime? Maybe something like, I'm moving into the prime of my life, the best part of my life, my wisdom years, my strength years. However you might choose to reframe your self-talk is going to be far more valuable, I want to think far more impactful than anything that a man can tell you about you. That's how I would answer that one.
Yeah. I love that. Because
change your thinking, change your life.
That's right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Who taught you that? No. Yeah. You already knew it. And I think one of the things that is really wonderful about us is that we both did our work. We both did our inner work, and we had an opportunity to just go within and to just resolve some things. I think that we've said you said, where have you been all my life? And I would say, you weren't ready for me.
She had a point too.
And so, we come to each other's lives when we're ready. Yeah. And like I said, we did our work. And so it's not like you had the thought that you had to fix me or I had to fix you. We came together whole, not two halves. As people say, sometimes they say, oh, you complete me and I'm 50% you, 50% me. No, we came 100%
ourselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I so much as said, what you see is what you get.
You actually did say that. And I was happy with what I saw. So
Thanks, babe. So, what do you appreciate most about being a woman,
well now,
loving a woman in this stage of life?
wow, I that's an interesting question. I don't know that I've ever considered what I love best about being with a woman in this stage of life. It may just be some of the simple things I mentioned earlier, in that we're in this stage of life together. Mm-hmm. It's not just like I'm with a mature woman and oh boy, it's that I'm a mature man who has met his soulmate, who is also a mature woman. We have shared memories, at least in time and grade, so to speak.
And you know what? What I appreciate about that is that when many of you know, and I share this often, that my mother died when I was 10, going on 11, and so when she died, a lot of my memory died with her, and so when we came together. Your memory is so long. It is so long that he would say, "Oh, babe, do you remember so and so and so and so?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah." And so it was breathtakingly loving for me to have to be able to relive some of what I forgot when we got together, because you were there and we weren't in the same space, but we experienced the exact same things, and so that was just
proud to be of service.
Yeah.
The extra memory right here.
Yes, absolutely.
Just call me a walking SD card.
Oh my God. He is. Oh my goodness. Okay, I cut you off, babe.
I don't remember what I was going to say anyway. So
okay, see, it's not only women that have brain fog.
Absolutely not. You'll get back to it one way or another.
Yes. So let's see. What do you say to a woman who has given up on love because of her age and maybe even her body changes?
Wow. You don't have to give up. It's a choice. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, surrendering into a mindset of, you know what, I'd just rather be alone. That's a choice. And you can make another choice if that choice isn't serving you. I think that's one of the best things about being human, not just being a woman or a man or whatever. Choosing again if the first choice isn't working out. So, yeah, make another choice.
Yeah. And what I would say to that is that, I hear women say, oh, there are not a lot of men out there. And what I say is, you only need one.
Yeah, well, can I just speak to that?
Yes.
And all seriousness, I have encountered women who have said there are just not a lot of men out there. And just in the spirit of full transparency, I'm also a minister, so a lot of people talk to me about a lot of things, and this has come up. I wish women knew how many, and I'm speaking now about older women, how many older men are feeling their age and the creeping sense of loneliness that is upon them, and are thinking to themselves, maybe I missed the boat, maybe it's too late, maybe I'll never be able to hook up. And as long as both, sets of people are suffering under that mindset, then yeah, we're going to have a bunch of people sort of like passing each other in the hallway.
Yeah, because, excuse me for cutting you
that's
off, but
right.
a lot of women think, oh, well, I don't want to have to take care of a man. I don't want a man to think that, that I'm his last choice and that he's on death's doorstep and I have to take care of him. What do you say to that? Because you're strapping.
Strapping. I love it. I haven't been strapping since I was 25. But I don't know around conditional logic where someone says, well, he's of advanced age and I don't want to have to take care of him as he advances further or as health declines or whatever the consideration might be. Mm-hmm. Because the fact of the matter is we're all growing older together. And just like the men mm-hmm. are growing older and encountering whether they're health challenges, financial challenges, whatever, so are women. And if that is the only consideration for, finding or allowing an open space mm-hmm. for companionship, you might want to press the pause button until you can fill in that space with a little bit more detail. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I feel about it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you're right there because there are. I talk about brain farts. I just had a brain fart. Oh my gosh. I had something that was like, I got to say this, but then,
Oh, well, it was the brilliance of my oratory that left you confounded.
Left me speechless. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
There we go. Next question.
Well, listen, I do want to take this time to let you know that if you're watching, feel free to chime in and comment, and we'll pull your comment up and answer the question that you have, if you have questions for me or Angelo during this time, and we'll just keep going. I also have, let me just look at my notes here. What do you think is the hardest part of dealing with a woman in menopause?
Now or in the beginning? That's an interesting question because I've changed.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
I knew it would come back.
I know. That's what I was going to say.
Nothing is ever lost.
Women, when you think that you are, that men are on death's door or they don't, their health is not important to them, this man is very conscious about his health. And when we got together, I didn't have to say to him, listen, are you, how's your health or whatever. He wanted to know more about what I was doing. So if you have a positive mindset, if you have a positive life, a viewpoint on life, if you're vibrant, he's going to match that. Yeah. That man is definitely going to match that, especially if he wants to be with you. So.
I think that's absolutely right. I saw you as being a health maven. Well, when we met, you were a fitness instructor. Mm-hmm. You also had just volumes and volumes of information that you'd collected over a lifetime. You knew more than anybody had ever spoken to about all kinds of health-related things, including meals, movement, mindset, the three components that have come to support, most of what Crazy Sexy Menopause does. And so I thought, well, this is timely because, I'm at a point in my life where I need to pay attention to my health. And not only was it informative being around Bette and being able to bounce questions off of her, but she offered, and no one had ever done this before, to accompany me to like a doctor's appointment, my doctor's appointment. So she came into the office and, I asked the doctor if that was okay. And, she listened. And when the doctor asked her, do you have any questions? Boy, did she come through with some questions that I never dreamed of. So it's been really, really helpful to grow up to your understanding of health because, well, just a couple of more minutes, I'll tell you, I wasn't eating the way I eat now. I was shaped differently when we first got together than I'm shaped now. So the fact that you've brought health into my life has been a real gift.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
And I do want to add on to that it is extremely helpful, especially at our age, to have your partner or someone accompany you to your doctor's visits, because if there's something that is a piece of information that you may not want to hear or may not know, that a diagnosis that you may not be ready to hear, it's really important to have someone there who can be a second set of ears, an advocate to not only ask questions but to be a support system and to help you to get through that particular time. Because there's nothing like going to the doctor and having them give you a diagnosis that you weren't ready for, because once you get that diagnosis, that's all you hear. You don't hear anything else, and so it's good to have that extra set of ears there to say, okay, you know what, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, love is waiting for you if you are waiting for it.
Yeah, if you're open to it.
If you're open to it. You don't have to seek it, it will find you.
Yeah, can I say something to that?
Yes, absolutely.
I know we weren't going to talk about our origin story, but I just got to tell this. One of the main reasons for us meeting in the first place is because a colleague of mine, in a totally unrelated conversation, asked me one day, are you open to being in a relationship? Because I hadn't been for a while. And, sometimes when someone asks a personal question like that, my first instinct is to deflect with humor, because I'm good at it. I can be witty, I can banter, and something told me in that moment, just answer the question and tell the truth. And I said, I think I am ready to be in a relationship. And that person said, well, that's good news, because there's somebody who I've heard has their eye on you. And the rest is history. But if I hadn't allowed myself to be open and available, if I had sort of like defaulted to that place of, kind of laughing it off, who knows? I mean, well, we might not have me sitting in front of a camera talking about menopause in business. Life would have been terrible.
That's right. Well, it would have been, because you would have missed out on all of this.
See,
fabulousness.
Absolutely.
And anyway, speaking about business.
Yes.
So you actually are the impetus for this coming into being. I thought about being a podcaster. I didn't want to be in front of the camera. And during COVID, Angelo found out about live streaming. And so he came to me and he said, babe, you can do this. We can do this. What do you think about this? And I was like, I don't know, babe. I don't know. I think I want to be in back of the camera. But he was like, no, women need to hear your voice. They need to see you. And
we didn't have camera the first.
we didn't have anything. We didn't have. Well, actually, I had a podcast mic.
That's right. That's what a podcast mic that was as big as my head.
And anyway, so we scrambled things together, and I went live.
You did.
Yeah.
And just to put a little context with it, it wasn't like we just sprang into action knowing what to do. I happened to have found a wonderful teacher and coach named Luria Petrucci of
Livestreaming Pros.
livestreamingpros.com. If you're thinking about doing an online business, check that out, because it was there that I learned the fundamentals about having an online presence and the tech you would need and the other things that you would need. So that's all.
Yeah, because you had done it for the church.
Right. I had started live streaming because it was COVID, right?
Right.
COVID shut down our ability to assemble, and we needed to have some kind of way. And I said, well, folks are talking about this live streaming thing, and there's this woman who is teaching it, and I'm following her. Let's see if Live Streaming Pros can give us some ideas. So we built something at church. And then when it came to my beloved saying, well, maybe I'll just do a podcast, I'm going, well, there's this other thing that we can do, and we're starting to do it at church, so let's give it a shot. And here we are.
And here we are. So, I have always said that you are the wind beneath my wings.
Oh, shucks.
A lot of men would have an issue with that, with being the support system to a woman in business. How do you feel about being my support?
Well,
and how does your ego handle it?
Well, here's what I know for sure. The tech aside, the idea of being online versus not online, when we came together and you would talk to me about the things that matter to you, women's health mattered to you, helping mature women live more vibrantly. That was our tagline for a while. Really mattered to you. What I saw in you was a vision caster. Somebody who was driving a mission that was like happening deep within. It wasn't my mission, it wasn't my vision, but I knew that I can get behind that. I can get behind a woman with a dream and a goal and an idea that wants to come forward. And so, as I mentioned before, I can't be a menopausal woman. I can't understand the experience except, objectively. But I can support in the ways that I can. And in the beginning, it was, maybe we should look at live streaming and creating videos and other ways that I'm behind the scenes with editing or whatever it is. So my ego is just fine. Thank you very much. I'm happy to let you be the star of your own vision.
I have to say, he is totally, his ego is intact. And so it's not a situation where he's trying to usurp my authority or anything like that. He's always putting me out front and sharing that I am the vision. I am the vision caster. I am the face of Crazy Sexy Menopause, and it is about me, and he is just here to support. And I love you for that. I absolutely love you back. For that. So, with that being said, which part of our business work together brings you joy?
Oh, without a doubt, the part where we actually collaborate to make something, and it can be something really, really small, but like for this live stream, we knew we needed to come up with a thumbnail. And so, like it was sort of last minute, and I was like, oh man, I don't feel like tugging out the camera. Let's just get in front of, like the studio rig and record something, and then now freeze frame it, and maybe we could use that. And I got to this frame that just cracked us up. Because, the real question might have been, well, does the thumbnail need to be real serious seeming, or does it need to be, the YouTube face of, or does it need to be something else? It was totally spontaneous, and we love it. We think it's the best one we ever done. But it was really a collaborative effort, and it's that kind of collaboration from the smallest things to some of the more complex things that I really enjoy.
Yeah. And like the very first video that we did, I had a vision of me race walking, and we did that, and I was race walking, and you were in the car, and
I had to be in the car.
In the back seat, in the back of the car with the camera, and we had another person driving, and
you have no idea.
Me from different angles, and they're trying to keep.
You have no idea how fast this woman can walk. We had to drive just to keep up.
Oh, and then you came up with the words, not the words, but the
song.
The song, the song, and then you put the color. You matched the color of the words to my shoes.
All of that,
beautiful.
All of that creative stuff is just fun, and I gotta say, not all of being in business, your being in business is not all fun and games.
Right.
For me or for you.
Right.
So, just want to say that.
Yeah, that's true. It is work.
Yeah,
It's definitely work. And what do you think is work? What makes it work?
Well, it's business, and it requires planning and constantly staying abreast of your craft, and your knowledge base. It's building ways of engaging with, your tribe, your group. All of the things that involve spending money, whether it's a sunk cost that you hope will pay off in the future, or something more immediate that needs to be replaced or invested in. All of those are business decisions, collaborations, and other deals that might be in the offing. Those have to be approached, in my viewpoint, with a sober mind and sound judgment. So that's the part that can be complex, challenging, and more than a little scary sometimes, at least for me.
Yeah.
So.
Especially when I'm not feeling well, or like the time that I fell and had to go to the emergency.
That was terrible.
I mean, actually there were a couple of times, but it's the time that I fell, I was race walking and lost my balance and face planted into a concrete wall, and that was crazy.
She came back home and her face was completely swollen on one side, black eye. And I said, oh my God, people are going to be thinking I beat you.
It's all about him, of course.
It's all about me. Actually, the first thing I said was, what happened and are you okay? Clearly she wasn't okay. Yeah. We had to go to the doctor, but I didn't want to be cast in the wrong light.
Because, I would go along with it. Yeah, he did hit me.
Moving right along.
What's one idea that you pitched that I didn't love at first, but then I came around to it and I was like, oh, this works.
That I pitched?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Let's see. That I pitched. We use these giant Post-it note kind of things. And so they're up in various places in our home. I'm looking at a couple right now. But this one, I wrote down these ideas of live stream topics or video topics that Bette might tackle. And one of them was centered around food, and I'm having trouble right now remembering exactly what's written. It's still up.
The chili. It was a chili recipe.
It was a chili recipe thing, and I was all excited, like, you ought to show people how to make these chilies. And she's looking at me like, what? You know, you do know that I'm doing a menopause thing. You remember that, right? And I'm going, no, but the chili. That didn't fly. It has never, moved from that paper into...
It didn't. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I just might do that recipe because I've been getting a lot of women asking me, well, what do you eat as a vegan? I don't want to always eat meat. What do you eat? And especially since I competed,
bodybuilding?
When I competed in bodybuilding, a lot of women are asking me, well, what did you eat, and how did you get your protein? And so I've been thinking a lot about that in terms of the meals portion of mindset, meals, and movement, and not just speaking about nutrition, but to show different recipes that I have come across that are really, really great. One of which is the Marry Me butter beans that makes him dance.
It makes me swoon. Marry Me butter beans. Some of you have heard of Marry Me chicken.
Yeah.
Marry Me butter beans.
It's a good one.
It's past the chicken.
And there are a couple of little ingredients in there that make it swoon worthy.
Yes.
That are not in the chicken one.
Another video for another time.
Okay, so how do you feel supporting a business that centers women, menopause, and midlife empowerment?
I feel that it's high time, not just for me. Bette, you've heard me say this. Mm-hmm. I believe that culturally, and I'm here talking about global culture. I'm not just speaking as an African American male, but globally, it feels to me like we are at a point in our development of as a species that feminine guidance is not only needed, it's required at this point. Mm-hmm. Testosterone-driven geopolitical stuff has gotten us kind of stuck. And people like me, men, have helped get us there. Not that all men are ill-intentioned, but I would say that as a gender, we haven't allowed women to be in the conversation, and that just has to stop. So I that's my best way of answering the question, to say that it's high time. Mm-hmm. For women to step into the driver's seat, men to relax and just, keep us on track.
Do you think that'll happen in our lifetime?
I think it's happening now. I think it's happening more than, common media might like us to think is happening. I think more and more, well, we can see the ascendancy of women who are driving various thought projects and movements in the street, gains that are happening politically, educationally. More women are getting degrees and advanced degrees than men. I think it's all part of a shift that is required at this point. And whether we live to see it, I hope I do see it in full bloom. Mm-hmm. So,
and I do see that the women who of those 300,000 women who've lost their jobs through DEI and other acts of ill intent, they are, I think this was the best thing to happen to them, because now they're starting businesses.
Lots of businesses.
Mm-hmm. So let's be real. Working together is definitely not for the faint of heart.
No.
What's the biggest adjustment that you've had to make?
You know, here's one of maybe, I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's one. One thing that I have learned is when people are in a relationship and they're in business, and ideas come along, or what are we doing right now, or how are we approaching, or why did that work, or why didn't it work? Passions can rise in a conversation, and it's easy, or has been easy for me to interrupt a flow. So you might be trying to share, and I'll go, yeah, well, but this is the thing right here that we need to pay attention to, or the other way around. You might interrupt me, and what I've learned and am still learning is how to restrain my passion to just listen. That thing that I mentioned right at the beginning, listening, it's not just listening when my wife is having a menopause moment. It's also listening when she's bringing forth an idea, hearing it out, instead of diving in and say, oh, no, this is the way we ought to handle that. So it's that kind of thing that I'm still learning.
And aren't we all? We are all works in progress. We're all works in progress. What would you say are some boundaries that we have created to improve both our personal life and our business life and in our marriage?
I think we strive not to pull our personal life into business. I mean, obviously, here we are talking about our personal lives in front of a live audience. However, pulling our personal preferences, grievances, sometimes we're not necessarily getting along all that great. And not allowing that to push the business out of shape. It's Betty's business. But I don't want the fact that, we're going through a rough patch at the moment to disturb that. And I think you've been equally prudent about that as well. So we'll take time to just defuse and talk, take a time out and talk it through. I don't remember the original question, but that's kind of where I'm led to share in this moment.
Well, that's very good because it's absolutely true.
It is.
If we had to give couples one rule before going into business, what would it be?
One rule?
Or maybe even one piece of advice.
I would say it is be sure and witness one another. When going into business or being part of a business with Betty, because it's solidly her business, I want to create room for her expression, and she also makes room for mine. So I guess the one central thing is allow a spaciousness in whatever is being created or guided into fruition to have some expansion and contraction, to have some flexibility if things are so rigidly in place that there isn't room for change or reconsideration. I think it tends to make it more fragile. It makes things easier to break. So that would be the one consideration I would say is keep enough spaciousness within your creative process and your business building process that there's room to grow. Or contract, as the case may be.
Yeah. I think also being open to each other's ideas and thoughts is paramount because, if you're really excited about something, you have an idea, and you express it and then it's shot down. You don't want that type of energy. Just being open to an idea, and some of the things that we do is if one of us comes with an idea, it may just be a seed, and then I may come to you with a seed, or you come to me with the seed, and then together we put the water on it, and it blossoms into a beautiful flower, and something that we can both be proud of and say that, oh yeah, we created that. That was a lot of fun. That was great.
And you know what comes up for me around that is that not every idea is like a really great idea. It's kind of like that chili thing.
Right.
But the thing that goes along with hearing another person's idea is being kind.
Yeah.
Being courteous enough to hear the idea through, not being judgmental, but being compassionate as well as objective in hearing it out.
Very good. Yes, yes. What system or routine helped us work better as a team?
Ooh. Without a doubt, the one routine that serves us well, and this is my opinion, you may have a different one. Every Monday morning at 9 o'clock sharp, no matter what else is going on in our lives, no matter what else is going on in the world, we have a business meeting with a formalized agenda carrying forward old business and addressing new business in the form of ideas or what we're going to do next. That amount of structure is enough of a skeleton for us to understand the structure of what we're doing from moment to moment. Not that we don't have a lot of other kind of like one-off meetings, in the meantime.
Right.
But that one habit and staying true to it helps me tremendously. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what we were doing.
Oh gosh. Okay. How do you navigate being in a support role, and especially when society says that men should lead?
Well, I've never cared about that. Let the best leader lead. Let the leader who has the vision of where they're leading to go forward with that lead. It's kind of like the civil rights struggle, if you will. Okay? Now, there was only going to be one, for example, Martin Luther King. And the people that supported him helped organize the marches and the rallies. But you know what? Somebody had to make cheese sandwiches to support the marchers. Somebody had to do fundraising to have bail money available for the inevitable arrests. Somebody has got to support. Not everybody wants to be or should be in that driver's seat and to be the vision caster. Let the leader lead.
All right. Yeah. I like that, babe. So how do you keep from taking my tough days personally?
If there was one thing, that one piece of advice that I would offer to the spouse or partner of anyone who's going through menopause is, don't take it personally. It is not about you. It may seem to be about you. It may be articulated that it's about you. But if you can take a moment to take a breath, and if you realize, well, I really didn't have anything to do with whatever this thing is, then you know that the chances are good that this may be a menopause moment. Don't take it personally. It ain't you, it's menopause. It will pass. That's it. Just don't.
Yeah, don't
Have
take
the presence of mind to not make it about you.
Yes, that's true, because it's not always about you.
No, not always. I mean,
not always.
Sometimes it's about me. I mean, I just got to be fair, but not all the time.
What's something that you learned about yourself being with a partner in business? Or being a support partner?
A support partner in business, and because of our business, my mind is always sort of focused around menopausal issues. Compassion and kindness come up big for me. And those tend to be my driving ambitions, my driving goals, if you will. So that's the best way I think I can answer that. You know, be kind, be compassionate, be polite, and be present.
Be present.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's one sentence of advice that you would give to any man watching? What would that be?
Oh, now we're back to the don't take it personal thing.
Yeah.
It can't be said often enough. So it's hard to encapsulate in one sentence, I think. There could be several sentences. Don't take it personal. It's not about you.
You could be in andropause too.
Yeah, I mean,
male menopause.
yeah, I've heard about that, and I have a feeling now. I know this is another video for another day. That it's fundamentally different than female menopause.
It is.
So for another time. But yeah, that's the main thing I would say. Stay conscious, stay present, be as much of a support as you can be to the partner in your life who's having this experience. And try to keep the door open in your mind that whatever is going on that may seem kind of like weird or wacky or just stupid spontaneous, it could be menopause. Just keep that door cracked open, because after your mind goes through like, well, it wasn't this and it wasn't this, this could be a menopause moment. And that's where you just get to listen and be present.
Open the window at night.
Open the window at night. Yes.
Put on a hat and an extra robe. And just let it be.
Yeah, moderating temperature in the room can be a point of contention sometimes.
And listen, so I just want to say that whatever you do, men and women, it is absolutely a joy and a blessing to be the age that we are, and we're still on this planet. So make the best of it. It's your life. Live it vibrantly. Live it in love. Live it in joy. And be compassionate and be kind. And it makes the world a better place.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. And our Crazy Sexy Menopause is on all social media platforms. If you want to reach out to me at Bette at crazysexymenopause.com. My free ebook is at crazysexymenopause.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you have a fabulous day and a healthy, prosperous, and happy new year.
Yay.
Peace.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.